Welcome, my name is Obedako. Welcome. Subscribe to this channel, share it with your friends and family and people you think will be interested in this channel. We share about personal development, entrepreneurship, Africa's progress, dignity, and things like that. So today I want to share with you types of freedom. Types of freedom. There are a lot of times that I think, I contemplate, I brood over, some topics, some words, and the other time I was thinking about freedom. Growing up we heard about political freedom, and that was a big thing. Africa's freedom. We will celebrate Ghana's independence on 6th of March every year, and that was the kind of freedom that we knew that Ghana got independence from British colonial rule, things like that. Then I've been thinking of so beyond the political freedom, what other freedoms do we think we have, if there is anything like freedoms? So I want to add, there are things that if you don't have understanding on things or of any particular thing, it will frustrate you, and it chokes production and it chokes growth because of lack of understanding. If you don't do well in anything, it's because we lack the understanding of it. We lack the knowledge, the basic wisdom of how the thing works. So in life, if you don't understand life itself, it will be very difficult for you to have freedom, because nobody grows in anything, nobody becomes great in anything without liberty. Freedom of expression, freedom of growth, freedom of anything. Anybody who does well in any area of life has some basic understanding in that particular area, and that understanding breaks freedom. Production, there's growth. So when you're in bondage, when you are incarceration, when you are restricted, then it will be very difficult for growth to come. When the plant sees and there is restriction somewhere, they will not be able to germinate as we want them. But when there is freedom, they will express themselves. So nobody becomes great when they are under subjugation, under controls. So I'm talking about types of freedom. The first freedom is political freedom that we all know. No country becomes great until the people, the citizens, are in charge of that country. Even if foreigners rule that country, it will be very difficult for the citizens to do well. So that's political freedom, and that is more of, it's not at the personal level, it's more of the country level, it's more of the structure level. Political freedom is beautiful, it's okay, it's needful, and once your country has some kind of political freedom, the other kinds of freedom, we can work on them as well. So I want to talk about freedom, as the political freedom, which every one of us must pursue, and that's why there's a problem. Want freedom, want liberty to live their lives. You don't want to go out and the police is the one asking you, why are you wearing this kind of shoe, or why are you using this kind of phone? If you want to solve armed robbery, it does not mean that those all citizens' liberty must be taken for granted or must be restricted. So so there will not be. So there's the people will always fight for freedom. You cannot. At a point, people will always fight for freedom. So the next kind of freedom that I want to talk about is school freedom or academic freedom. School is like another system that enslaves. Even though it gives us the ability to read, to write, to express ourselves, they have also designed it, said that by the time that you're through with the school, you have technically become a slave to a particular structure, to a particular system, where we seem to believe that everything that the school teaches, the academics give us, is what there is. So and by the time you're through with it, you have technically become a slave. So you must know that, okay, what kind of freedom that I must give myself out of this incarceration that has come from the academic structure or the education system. So it gives some kind of enslavement. So for you to become free, you must understand that they don't teach you everything, and there is more to life than what the school gives you. You must question that, especially those of us from Africa. There's a lot of information that we need far beyond what the academics or what the school give us, on which we must search ourselves. But they premise, or they start with the thinking that there is more to it than what these guys have given me. That question, once you ask yourself that question, you'll be able to find the answers. So you must come to a stage where you know that, why is it that if I studied biology, I become an authority in biology? Why is it that I cannot go beyond that? You should not in the olden days, people will be lawyers, physicists, everything at the same time. Now if you're an engineer, they don't want you to become any other thing. Never think that you cannot become an expert in something that you don't have a certificate in. School made us to believe that you can become an expert in anything that you give time to study and to learn to produce results. So don't let school incarcerate you. Don't book your life to say that, okay, so that's why some people say that, oh, me, I didn't go to school, so I don't know. No, that should not enslave you. Whether you went to school or you didn't go to school, that should not enslave you. You should be able to live your life, out of that freedom. And that comes from the understanding that the school is not the ultimate. It's critical, it's important, it gives you the platform, it inspires our mind, but it can also kill our dreams and restrict us so much. That's why you see a lot of people who do well so much in life are not so much out of the school structure. Why? Because the bottom, the school raises you beyond the last bottom, but it doesn't take you to the top 10%. The top 7% is live out of ingenuity, out of creativity, out of courage, out of risk, out of personal expression. And that is the kind of freedom that you must pursue. The next one is financial freedom. This life, money, is a common language. Right, and our understanding and our knowledge that we have on money shows whether we are going to be a slave to money and its lack, or we're going to have financial freedom. Most people cannot live their lives, cannot live the place they want to live. They cannot, take care of themselves. They cannot have the life that they want to have because of the restrictions of money. And money is a control system. If you don't have much, there's not much you can do with life. You see the way they have classified Africa as a poor continent. That's not true. Why? But some people have been able to, trying to succeed to say that this is a poor continent. They lack, so that the black skin has been linked to poverty, and that is a lie. And so the financial freedom, you must pursue that, and it comes out of the right financial information. At least solve financial freedom at your personal level. You need to understand what it takes to build. Don't start life pursuing just professional skill set or professional career. You must also solve the money problems, because without it, there is so much that you will be restricted in terms of you achieving your dreams. Money is a fuel to the dreams, to the vision that you have. But money, some people say that, oh, if you learn to do it well, you get money. That's not necessarily true. There is kind of information that you must have for you to have financial freedom. And almost all of us, especially those come from poor background, poor families, they've been able to teach us a lot of wrong stuff about money, and that's why we all struggle with, and that's why we believe that if you go to school, you'll become rich and things like that. There's a way that they have programmed a lot of the world's population to think, and which have enslaved majority of the West. So financial information, you must know it. Which one is an asset, which one is a liability. How do you create different streams of income? How do you invest the money that comes to you? You must pursue that, and so that is another form of freedom that we must all pursue. The next kind of freedom is religious freedom or spiritual freedom, where in particular in Africa, there's church everywhere, and any boy at all, any man at all, any girl at all can start up to say that God has called me to come and start church and teach you. Where somebody is trying, like just the Catholic Church or the European kind of Christianity came with a white Jesus, came with systems and structures to control people and to represent God and leave the people. If anybody teaches you wrong information, they put fear in you, and fear can enslave, or fear enslaves. The same thing. Now you have a lot of churches all across Africa trying to tell you that they are the more powerful and that you have to come through them to go to God. It's not so much different from what the Europeans came to do, use religion to enslave you. So a lot of our people, very highly educated, professional, but he's sitting under uneducated guy whose only reason is to extort money, but he's been able to create fear and panic out of the unknown. And therefore, you look at this guy, he's teaching you every day, every Sunday, every Wednesday, and the kind of information he's giving you is esoteric, is superstitious, and you've been able to convince you that you don't need your brain. Life is spiritual, and everything else comes from the spiritual. So everything that that comes out of your life, you want to interpret that thing out of spirituality. I think that God gave us brains, laws, principles, and the more you're able to identify principles and the laws of God, you'll be able to live your life out of that freedom that God gives to everybody, especially the Christians. Christ did not come so that somebody else will give you control everything that you have to say. So you see cockroach in your room, now you're looking for somebody to give you interpretation. The reason your business failed, now you're looking for reason out of prayer and spirit. Everything is superstitious and spiritual. You're going to see the malam, you're going to see the fetish priests, you are going to, everything that does not work is coming from some family background or some witchcraft. That is a bondage. That is a bondage. Truth brings order and healing. Truth brings liberty and freedom. Truth brings Without the right kind of information, you'll not be able to pursue freedom. So freedom is a function of the right knowledge, right information. Freedom, where you're able to live your life according to your strength, according to your dream, according to your passion, according to the things that you set for yourself, the things that you can do. And God made all of us very uniquely, and what you can do, what you know, what you have strength in, what you have expertise in, your background, your family background, all those things were designed so that you come to do something particular in this life. If you're not aware of those things, it will be very difficult for you to live at the personal freedom. So most people will live their life not being aware of what separates them, what makes them unique, what is it that they can contribute to this life. And personal freedom is when it comes out of information, where you live your life according to your strength, according to your giftings, according to the things that you want to change in this life. And all of us are unique. You may be tall, you may be short, you may be black, you may be white. Everything that God gave us, He gave us so that we'll be able to live